Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Absolutely huge weekend for Tennessee recruiting coming up this weekend. Over 20 official visitors going to be on campus. I think I saw it was somewhere around 26 overall. And there's one guy that's going to be on campus that was not expected to be here. That's what today's video is all about. But this weekend obviously is going to be headlined by David Sanders, five-star offensive tackle, number one offensive tackle in the country, number two overall player in the class of 2025. I think this is your guy. Of course, we've already got George McIntyre, a five-star quarterback, in the boat. You're going to have an opportunity this weekend to move the needle with some guys. Four-star interior offensive lineman Juan Gaston is going to be in town. VolQuest has put out that Tennessee has a legitimate shot at landing Juan Gaston. You got a couple of five-star wide receivers in Caleb Cunningham, Jamie French. How realistic are those guys? Look, four-star tight end Deshaun Brame, the only tight end in the country that this coaching staff is willing to pair with Jack Van Dorsett. He's going to be in town. Four-star defensive lineman Charles House, a guy that's been all orange for quite some time. He's going to be here for his official visit, and then he's going to make a decision on June the 22nd. We're going to be covering that live right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. We'll stream his commitment. We'll talk about him as a player. He's been talking a lot of Alabama and Georgia the last couple of weeks. Can Tennessee get the momentum back going into the decision? Also, four-star edge rusher Jaden Perlotte is going to be in town. Tennessee trying to flip him from Georgia. Speaking of flips, five-star edge Isaiah Gibson. He's a USC commit. A lot of people think he is going to be flipping to Georgia. He's going to be in town this weekend. Tennessee's going to have their opportunity to shoot their shot there. A couple of four-star edge rushers, Jared Smith, Zion Grady. Look, there's going to be a lot of Tennessee commits here, peer recruiting as well. George McIntyre is going to be in town. Ethan Utley, Jack Van Dorsett, Sidney Walton, Dylan Lewis, Tyler Redmond will all be on campus peer recruiting. Also, LeVar Arrington's son, a three-star linebacker, is going to be in town. You want more details? We really kind of deep dive the weekend of recruiting in the live stream Wednesday night. If you missed that, go back and give it a watch. But as I was saying, there's a visitor that's going to be on campus that was not expected to be here until next weekend. Kind of been a roller coaster the last couple of days for four-star offensive lineman / defensive lineman Nick Moore. You can see Ryan Callahan from GoVols 247 Sports says top 247 offensive lineman, local Vols target Nick Moore moves up his official visit to Tennessee after delaying. Now, we were covering this live when the news broke. We talked about whether it was a good or a bad thing for Tennessee, but I know a lot of you guys like your news in a 10-minute video, so we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about Nick Moore. I need you guys to do that YouTube stuff, though. You already know. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You don't want to miss out when we're going live or when we're dropping videos. We're live every Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, playing NCAA football, but talking all things Tennessee football. I also want to let you guys know, look, we're right around the corner from the drop of EA Sports College Football 2025. Myself, Coach Jay, Coach Rice, possibly the X Factor, are all going to be in an online dynasty that you guys can participate in. Now, that is going to be behind a paywall. We're going to drop a Patreon. We're going to do that next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time while we are live. We're going to launch that Patreon. It's limited spaces, first come, first serve. You're going to have an opportunity to be in the dynasty with the co-host of the Talkin VAWLS Network. So just picture the UT Florida week. You play Coach Jay. You get to jump on, play Xbox, and talk to Coach Jay. We're going to launch that next Tuesday, so make sure you dial in for that. Also, as I said, the next couple of Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be talking recruiting because business is picking up. But let's talk about four-star offensive lineman Nick Moore, 6'2", 290 pounds. He's out of Jefferson County in Dandridge, Tennessee. So an in-state kid. Now, what happened Wednesday? Because Wednesday morning, Nick Moore put out that he was going to be making his decision that night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I got excited, man. I'm hitting up Coach Jay, hitting up Coach Rice, saying, hey, we're going to have a live commitment tonight on top of all the recruiting talk that we've got to do. Then I went to VolQuest. Here is what I saw. Austin Price said, if Nick Moore's coming off the board tonight at 8 o'clock, he is not going to be choosing Tennessee. Now, Nick Moore was scheduled to be here on June the 21st, next weekend. So he was going to make the commitment on Wednesday night, even though he had not taken his official to Tennessee yet. That now has been scheduled. He's going to be in town this weekend. He's on campus right now for his official visit to Tennessee. So I saw that AP said if he's committing tonight, it's not going to be Tennessee. Now, we go on to learn that West Virginia is recruiting Nick Moore to be a defensive lineman. Austin Price follows that up and says, We will see if he goes through with it tonight. That was big red flag number one. People were asking AP, is he a take at Tennessee? Does Tennessee really want him? Or is this one of those, we don't really have to, it's either now or never. That wasn't the case. He said, yes, he is a take. And then he followed it up and said, Nick Moore has yet to commit anywhere. Let's see if it happens. Now, some people say, what, man, you sure do love Austin Price. They're the best in the business when it comes to covering recruiting. So when Austin Price tells me twice in one thread, let's see if he commits. Of course, I'm going to cover it. I'm going to talk about it on the live stream because that is news. Now, there's no scouting report out there on Nick Moore. I'm going to play some highlights, and we're going to talk about whether this is a good thing for Tennessee or whether it is a bad thing for Tennessee. But again, no scouting report. But if you take a look at it right out of the gate, he shows his athleticism here on the first play, and that's something we've seen a lot with some of the offensive linemen that Josh Heupel, Glenn Ellerbe are recruiting is athleticism. He also shows the ability to finish blocks. He finishes just about every block on this film. So, again, rescheduling the commitment. Is this a good thing? Or is it a bad thing for Tennessee? Clearly, it is a good thing because West Virginia was putting that pressure on him with timeline, also offering to be able to play the defensive line because Nick Moore plays offensive line and defensive line in high school. Does he want to play the defensive line more? And if he does, is West Virginia going to really stick to that offer? So I'm sure West Virginia put the pressure on. Nick Moore scheduled the commitment, probably had some conversations with his family, with Coach Heupel, Coach Ellerbe, with his high school coaches, and then he elects to delay that. He wants to take his official visit. Let Tennessee sell themselves to him. Now, I saw something interesting. I saw an article from a Clemson reporter, and this had the quote from Nick Moore. He said, I can see myself playing on the offensive line because I've been thinking about it for a while. I always thought I was going to be a defensive guy, but my head coach was always telling me that I could be a phenomenal offensive lineman because I have the agility of a defensive lineman, but I also have a good stance and form for an offensive lineman. So how much does it mean to Nick Moore to actually play on that defensive line versus settling in and playing on the offensive line? What is more important to him? Also, he's an in-state kid. Does that matter? Now, Tennessee offered on May the 10th, so they were a little late. They were a little late to the game. Is that an impact? Does that bother him? But after that offer on May the 10th, this is what Nick Moore said. I was pretty excited, actually, because UT, it's our home college town. They're right up the road, 45 minutes. UT has always been a place that I had an admiration for because we're so close. He goes on to say everybody around here are big UT fans. They all go to the Thompson Bowling Arena, stuff like that for concerts and things. UT is just a center of where we're at, and to be able to have the opportunity to play for them seems almost like a dream. Now, he followed that offer up with a visit for the 865 Live Memorial Day event coming off of that weekend. Said it was really energetic experience, the scavenger hunt, the talent show, and coming back down to Neyland Stadium for a little party. It was a whole bunch of energy. The community was involved. Everybody from the adults to the little kids were involved in that. That's something that I like because it gives us a sense of togetherness. And so I really liked that part of it. Also at that 865 Live event, Nick Moore really kind of hit it off with David Sanders. Austin Price had said, these two really kind of have similar personalities, kind of gravitate together. We are using David Sanders to recruit other kids. Is David Sanders in the boat? He is going to be here officially this weekend. He's the headliner. It is a big, big weekend for Tennessee. I like where they're at with David Sanders. Everything I read is that Tennessee is the front runner. Can they hold on to him? That last visit to Ohio State does concern me. What if David Sanders hits it off this weekend, goes ahead and pulls the trigger and cancels that visit? But David Sanders will be here this weekend hanging out with Nick Moore. Can Tennessee swing the momentum back in their favor? That's the story. That's what went down on Wednesday. A lot of you guys were asking me what went on with Nick Moore. Huge weekend of recruiting for Tennessee. You guys want me to drop another video later today? Maybe I will do that and continue to talk about this big, big weekend. Again, we're going to be live the next two Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Also, Tuesday nights playing NCAA football. Don't forget, Tuesday at 7, the Patreon will launch, and then we're going to auction off. You guys in the chat have said, I want to auction off. I want to be able to pick my team first. I want to be able to pick the best team on the game. I want to be able to pick Tennessee. We're going to auction off a couple of those picks on Tuesday night as well. But guess what? I'm going to pick last. You guys can probably take a guess who I'm going to take. But that's going to do it for this one. Smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.